Welcome to the Gritcast, where we get into the nitty-gritty of all things hockey. From the East to the West Coast. Here are your hosts, Matt Pierce, Nikosh Ganguly, and Darius Dominguez.
We're slowly getting into the games of the regular season where nothing really happens, it's just the games. But first things first, let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks again, who are, as I predicted, not very good. These guys, my other co-hosts were like, oh nah, Bruce Boudreau is there. They're going to be good. And they stink. So Matt, want to tell me why I'm right?
Before I tell you that you're right, the Canucks made me look stupid and I'm not very happy about it. I thought Demko would lead them to the way, and he's only doing half of that. And now the team's arguing, so...
Very cool.
There, you're right. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to dive into it further.
Thank you. We have that on video. Matt saying I'm right.
When you got Luke
so.
Shen
only
arguing,
towards this case, though, not to anything else.
When you got Luke Shen arguing with, arguably your best player, or, one of your best players.
Is Luke Shen not their best player?
Oh, no. Not this year.
Oh, okay. My fault.
No. When you got Luke Shen arguing with one of your best players, I think you have an issue. They suck. They look dead in the water. And we're what, 5 games in for them? Like, how many games have they played? 6, 5, something like that.
I think 7. Have they not?
I don't know. So they haven't won. I know that.
They suck. That's all we know.
Did they lose again yesterday?
They haven't won.
I think their last game was against Carolina. I want to say.
Yeah,
and they lost that one.
And it was close. I think it was 3-2. But
good for them.
Yeah, a lot better. That's like Keith saying that they got respect in the handshake line.
Yeah, Tampa really
we got more respect this time. Anyway, they look horrible, and I have to go back on what I said because I said they were going to make the playoffs, and they can still definitely pick it up, but it's just the mental aspect. They look pissed. They look like they don't have it at all. So, and you got to win a game because. It's everyone keeps saying the Leafs started that one year where they finished second last in the same spot the Canucks are in right now, so move your feet
or lose your seat, as they say.
That's right. Never heard that actually.
Okay. Another thing with the Canucks is they Connor Bedard is a very big Vancouver Canucks fan, eh? And I feel like at this point, bro, Canucks were never gonna win the cup, right? And now they're obviously not gonna win the playoffs. Honestly, bro, I'm team suck hard for Bedard for the Vancouver Canucks at this point. I know it's early, a lot can happen, but hey, man, Connor Bedard is a generational talent. As some reason we throw around the word generational a lot since McDavid got picked. Every year it's been this guy's generational. Although Matthews, you could argue, is also a generational talent. But I don't know, man. I think just go for Bedard. JT Miller, they just gave him a loop year of extension, doesn't kick in until next year. So it's just at this point, the guy doesn't even seem invested. Horvat, your captain who doesn't have an extension right now, is also saying some interesting things. So I don't really know what their plan is going to be. I don't think they can fire Boudreau, because then it'll be Travis Green gone, then you have Boudreau gone. You're paying both of them. You're bringing a third coach.
They also just fired their GM last year. So what's left? It's the guys on the ice, isn't it?
Literally.
So
they made the changes that you make before going full nuclear. Yeah. So it's just and you're not going to trade Elias Pettersson. You know what I mean? You don't trade that guy.
Even Quinn Hughes. There's a guys you can still build off of, right? But Bo Horvat's done at the end of this year. Do you trade him at the trade deadline? I'll tell you this. He's for sure on the block. But I'll tell you this: if you go into November with 1 win, you're done. You're not making the playoffs, and you should tank. That's it. And I think they have 3 games coming up before the end of the month. So if you go, I'm telling you, if you go into November with 1 win, just fold it.
Yeah. You can tell the Canucks don't really. They're more concerned about the fans throwing stuff on the ice, like that JT Miller quote the other day. They're more concerned about how the fans are reacting than how their on ice performance is. And an easy way to fix the fans reacting: start winning, and they don't want to seem to start doing that.
Yeah, and it's like that with most hardcore fan bases.
Especially Canadian fan bases too.
Yeah, yeah, because this is all we have, you know. And it's like, dude, you can't get mad at the fans. It's like sometimes they're getting mad. I'm like, you guys gotta win games. You know what I mean? Like, I said it on a show I do for like my school. It's like, you know, you can't put everything on a goalie and expect it to just work all the time. I might have said it on here as well. It's just like, you know, I feel like they were betting a lot of their bad defense to be, you know, a wash with Demko being so good. And we had all the right to believe Demko was going to be a Vezina candidate based on priors. But like, it's still hard to bet on a goalie being that good every year. You know, you only have like Igor and Vasilevsky who are that good consistently every single year. And that's two guys who make like the top two paid goalies aside from Bobrovsky. But you know, he is what he is. But yeah, I just think they're a flawed team. They won't accept a rebuild, which they most definitely should. They keep yo-yoing Niels Höglander back up and down, like out in the line, in the line. He's supposed to be an impact player for them in their top six. Ilya Mikheyev, I don't know if he's back yet, but he's, you know, like he's good, but he's like a middle six penalty killing forward.
But
you know
also,
what I mean?
like watching him on the Leafs, because we're Leafs fans. Did Vancouver think he was going to come in and be like a difference maker? Like he's a good like guy to put in there, really good on the penalty kill. But like
he's a proper Swiss Army knife type player.
Sure,
But he's not like 60-point, 25 goal guy. You know what I mean?
And that's the whole thing with this Canucks team. It's like the answer is in front of you. It's not coming, or you're not going to trade for it. Like the guys you have are there.
Yeah, man.
Ever since that first game too, their new pickup Andrei Kuzmenko from the KHL. I haven't heard much about him.
Yeah, he scored one goal and everyone was like, whoa,
yeah,
he's arrived.
Yeah, that one power play goal against the Oilers, and then that was it. And then every Canucks fan I know was rubbing it in my face, like, "Oh, we got Kuzmenko." I was like, "Oh, cool." I don't watch the KHL. I can't tell you what you're getting.
Yeah, that's true. Like, was the last good KHL guy Mikheyev?
I'd say
to come over.
Probably because it was just before COVID, right?
Kaprizov.
Yeah. Okay, no, I mean like undrafted.
Oh, okay, undrafted.
Yes, obviously Kaprizov. Okay,
Panarin.
or like Igor.
I didn't know he was off the table here, fellas.
No.
Slack.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. Like we talked about everyone, every major podcast, every media outlet is talking about how bad the Canucks are. I don't really know what else to say. You gotta.
I think they have to. Onto that.
I think they have to I think it's. And another thing is they have that anchor of a contract with OEL.
OEL is the worst. And their defense as a core is awful. But
I think the first game without Hughes, I looked at their defensive pairings, and I think their top pairing was Ekman Larsson and Tyler Myers. So you kind of don't, you can't expect much from that pairing. But they just threw it out there anyways. Yeah, it's your top pairing in 2022, no less. 10 years ago, okay, maybe, but not.
No, not even 10 years ago, bro.
No.
Oh my god.
Based on potential, maybe you'd be like, okay, if it was a rebuilding
on
team,
paper, that's a good top pairing.
But yeah, I think like earlier, like when they were like 0-3, let's say, I think you could look at the games and be like, okay, at least they had the lead. Like they can't hold on to it, but that's something that I feel like I said this last week too. But you can fix that, right? But the last few games, like the jersey on the ice and all that, like, and I think it was Saturday night, like they had no life. I think it's like now the writing's on the wall. Like, okay, maybe there's deeper issues, and you've had the same core with like Horvat, for example, for years, since what, 2016? So, and Horvat since like 2013. So, switch it up. Just accept the fact you need to rebuild.
I think they need to trade Horvat. I think that's just something that needs to happen.
Definitely don't re-sign him. Like, definitely get something for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So let's I think we beat the horse here. I don't know if that's a politically correct term anymore, but you know,
it is.
I don't know. I don't know. But let's move on to Matt's squad, the Edmonton Oilers. A little bit we talk about not much changes week to week in the NHL season. You kind of see more and more trends happening month to month. I'd say like we talked about the Oilers last week. Not too much has changed. We did have McDavid not having a point in 2 straight games. He got injured. He came back. And I think are they still living off their power play? I haven't been able to pay attention too much.
No, like last night the power play looked pretty good, but weren't able to score off of it. You know, it's nice that the Oilers don't have to rely on the special teams anymore. the 5-on-5 play has vastly improved over, the last few games, and they're starting to settle in with Jack Campbell in nets. Like Saturday, even though they lost 2-0 against the Blues, he looked great. It was just the team in front of him that wasn't able to help him out, if you will.
For sure.
And the team is starting to sort of gel together with Jack Campbell. Like they're not riding the reins of Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith anymore. They're starting to realize what kind of player Campbell is, because there was a few times where Campbell, he would, soak up the puck and then he'd throw it out, waiting for the defense to get on top of it, like, with the Leafs, watching some highlights with him, but they weren't able to, so he's sort of catching on to the habits that the defense is starting to do with breakouts and such, and so he's starting to become more conservative with the puck and holding on to it.
For sure, yeah.
And so, just adding on to that, Stuart Skinner, he's legit. I will say that now, and I will say that for the rest of the season.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Yeah, I think my thing is with Stuart Skinner is, like, you just give Jack Campbell a 6x6 or whatever, and, like, Stuart Skinner's probably a guy next year, right? At the latest. No? Maybe, like,
yeah.
I don't know what, I feel like the Oilers didn't need to bring in Campbell. They could have brought in a stopgap guy, between their, Mike Smith, Mikko Koskinen, whatever you want to call that. And then Stuart Skinner to take over the reins. Maybe you bring in like a guy who's known to just be good for 45, 50 games. He's all right, and then you can give Stuart Skinner the reins. But now they have Campbell and Skinner, which it's never a problem to have two good goalies. It's just the problem is when you start paying the backup goalie more than the starter, and a lot more than the starter. And Stuart Skinner is younger. Probably going to be better at some point, just based on potential. So I don't know. I think that's just an interesting Ken Holland signing, as most of them usually are.
Yeah, the Campbell signing, it was more so Holland missing out on the top goalie free agent for the past 2-3 seasons. Saw Campbell, kind of had to get him, not because he wanted to, but just because he kind of had to. I would have preferred someone like Jake Allen or James Reimer, because seeing Reimer in San Jose just makes me feel for the guy, honestly.
Same thing with Jake Allen in Montreal, too.
He deserves so much better. So to have one of those two guys, I kind of would have preferred over Campbell, and sort of have, Reimer, Allen, and Skinner as a 1A, 1B instead of a starter and a backup. So, like you said, it's kind of concerning, especially if you get to the All-Star break and you see that Skinner is vastly outperforming Campbell in every possible category, statistic category. So, but we'll see. I'm liking Campbell. At the start, I was like, am I getting buyer's remorse here? But as he's starting to sort of settle in with the Oilers, it could get a little better. But like you said, Stuart Skinner, right now, through the first 6 games, he's been the better goaltender.
I don't think it's ever a bad thing to have two goalies either. Like, even if Skinner takes over this year, which, who knows, right? He might, which would be crazy considering they have 5 more years, or 4 more years of Campbell. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. And even if you are paying your backup more than your starter, as long as your backup is not a liability, I don't see a huge issue, because I feel like more teams are switching to like the hybrid type where like both goalies kind of split the load.
Tandems. It makes more sense. It makes more sense.
It does. I don't understand. Gone are the days of like guys playing like 60, 70 games or whatever. Or like Andrew Raycroft one year played like literally 78 games or something.
Cam Talbot played like what, 73?
Cam Talbot
72 or something?
72, and then he played another 13 in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, yeah. Like,
and then he was terrible the next year.
He was terrible, yeah.
Yeah, because he couldn't breathe.
One shot Cam, he'd let in the first shot of every game. But
yeah, okay, but after like playing literally every single game, it's like, dude, come on.
Like, here's a trivia question. Can you guys name Edmonton's backup from that 2016-17 season?
Brossoit?
It was Brossoit. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
too
known
easy,
that.
bro. Too easy, bro. That's too easy.
He played a total of 4 games.
The one notable game I can remember from Brossoit, it was against Calgary, and I want to say Edmonton went up 6-1, and the final score was like 7-6.
Wow.
And then he went on to Winnipeg and Vegas and became a better goalie. So
he's a really, really high-end backup in the league now.
He's reliable, yeah.
He
just needs the minutes. Is he in Vegas? He might be in Vegas.
Yeah, it's him, Hill, and Logan Thompson.
Logan Thompson, by the way, I wanted to talk about in this episode. Nice little starting goaltender there that they have in Vegas.
Solid.
I think. Solid. So far, like it could go off the rails still, but he looks good.
Goalies are so weird. And like, I kind of like that. I kind of like how Vegas has like 3 NHL level goaltenders. So
Like guys you
it's
can
good
just
for them.
plug in, but they're not like, you wouldn't be like, this guy's a starter for sure.
Yeah, so it's not like a guy I'm gonna run through the entire playoffs.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah. But they got 3 guys who can play in the NHL.
That's what I in NHL franchise mode. I just signed like 282 overall goalies for like $1 million each, and then just like let it ride because goalies are
broken.
We'll get into it at the end of the episode, but like goalies are dumb in simulation. So I just like, okay, this guy wants 800K and he's an 83 overall. Sure, whatever. I don't care. I'm not gonna pour $9 million into an 85 overall goalie for no reason. But yeah, going off topic there. My bad. I just think another thing with the Oilers is because let's get back to them. I just with McDavid and Draisaitl, you always have a chance to win. So it's like, and now they've actually supported them. You have Hyman. Dylan Holloway's been a pretty cool. Is he still chugging along there?
He's been injured since the Buffalo game.
It
was from the hit from Lyubushkin. Yeah.
Dude, he killed him.
Yeah.
That's why the Leafs should have, re-signed him.
Yeah, except they were running him out with Morgan Riley in the playoffs against Tampa Bay. Anyway, I just think you also have. How's Yamamoto doing this year? I'm not too.
Snake bitten. There was an instance in the game against Pittsburgh where he had the puck on a half break and just couldn't corral it, and there's multiple times where he just couldn't control the puck. Same thing with Puljujarvi, but I can give Puljujarvi a little slack. He's my boy. But with Yamamoto, it's so tough seeing him in the corners because he's 5'10", I want to say, and it's so cute seeing him in the corners because he can't battle in there at all.
No
but
way.
You can tell he tries. He's got grit.
Ooh, he's trying. He's trying.
Trying. He provides the wing depth, but he's just hasn't been up to my standards this season so far.
Is he playing on the third or second line?
Second line, because the first line last game, because the Oilers run 11-7, and I want to say the first line last game was Kane, McDavid, and Hyman.
That's a lethal line, bro. That's a lethal line.
Yeah, and then the second line was. I know Draisaitl was centering it. Yeah, I watched the first 2 periods and then went to bed. But with 11-7, you have that rotating center.
Yeah, I honestly
the line I really liked last night though was Foegele, McLeod, and Puljujarvi.
That's the third line if I've ever heard one.
Our past 2 games, that's been our best line by far. Just ridiculous.
Last year, Foegele was getting a lot of flack. Would you say this year, he's kind of coming to his own?
Now that he has chemistry with line mates, because last year we were putting him up and down the lineup, but now that he's got 2 very good line mates in McLeod and Puljujarvi, who are hounds off and on the puck. Well, all 3 of them are hounds off and on the puck. Off and on the puck. Lots of O's, but just a fantastic line. They're coming into their own. The game against Pittsburgh, I think Woodcroft, he had Yamamoto on the top line. It was Kane, McDavid, and Yamamoto, and I want to say he switched him with Hyman, and that made it a whole lot better. And then that second line, now it's all coming back to me, folks. I've been up for almost 12 hours now. That second line was Nuge, Draisaitl, and Yamamoto. The 2019-2020 season, that was our best line ever since Yamamoto got called up in December. So to sort of see that line come back into their form again was nice to see. I kind of rambled on there, but you got the gist.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt.
Watching a guy like Foegele in junior, it's just when I hear people in Edmonton he doesn't have a role or whatever, it just is weird to me because I'm just he's such a useful player. I just feel like they haven't figured out what to do with him yet.
The flack that he got was he's a good player. It was just the money that he was making, and then there's also the instance where he came from Carolina because he was in the trade for Ethan Bear, and Ethan Bear was a huge fan favorite. I loved him, but for Foegele to make $2.7 million this year and the next, people just kind of thought that was a high cap hit for the bottom 6 role that he's playing, but he's gotten a lot better, even though he killed Dylan Holloway on that suicide pass. That's where I'm gonna wrap it up with the Oilers here.
Yeah.
In the past few games, I was a little pessimistic. If you read my tweets, as I like tweet the Oilers games, but Go Oilers. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nice. Let's move on to the Philadelphia Flyers. Darius's fifth favorite team.
Love it.
Among the other four favorite teams he has every night. We have a friend who's a pretty he's a pretty big Flyers fan. I'd say
number one fan.
The Flyers, they're cool. They're a lot better than everyone expected. They're back to like I think they're more back into like having like an actual identity. One of the big points the Steve Dangle podcast always made about them was like they're the Philadelphia Flyers, but they're not the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
They're not like you're not scared to play them. You're not as you used to be. You're just like, okay, we're gonna go in there, bad team, we're gonna win. They were like one of like the more sorry teams last year. Like there's nothing for them. At least with like Montreal, they were young and cool, and with Philadelphia, it was just sad. But this year, a lot more interesting. They just claimed Kiefer Bellows on waivers. I'm sure he'll get an opportunity there. But yeah, doing a lot better than most people expected. Darius, I think you've been watching them a bit more. So
yeah.
What do you have to say about them?
Well, like at the beginning, I feel like we all had fair analysis to think that they would suck because there's nothing suggesting that they would be good.
For sure.
Really. But I like a lot of people don't like Torts, but I think he's a hell of a motivator. And I think one of the things the Flyers lack is that, like, there's other teams that lack skill, and that's why they're bad. I think the Flyers lack, like you said, like this identity and this, like, I don't know, like motivation or something. There was a video clip I was watching of Torts talking to them one of the first days he was there in camp, and he's like, this is a big honor for me. Like, I'm coaching the Philadelphia effing Flyers, right? And he's talking to the group or whatever, and I'm just like, that's right. They're the Flyers. The last few years, everyone's like, oh, that's the Flyers or whatever. But it should be like smash your head into the boards, Philadelphia Flyers hockey. Like, they should bring that back, right? And kind of create their identity again. And that first game against New Jersey, obviously now we know New Jersey not doing well this year. But the first game, you're thinking like New Jersey's going to come out.
They can't get a save, eh?
No, yeah.
Like the Devils?
That's another team that, I don't know. But they came out in that game, and they're like, we're going to throw you through the boards, and we're going to score goals while we do it. And you're like, holy shit, the Flyers are back, right? And they've won. Like, they've started 3-0. They look good. They beat Tampa. They look good, and obviously tapered off a little bit. I think they're more even now.
I don't think everybody expected them to be like actually good.
They're not going to go like 8-0. Yeah,
they're not gonna. I don't think they're a playoff team by any means.
No.
But like I don't know. I guess it's good. It's good for Flyers fans to like watch their team and be like, okay, this is like the Philadelphia Flyers. You know what I mean?
Looks like
they're not just they're not just some like sorry ass team that every team like looks at them and like is just ready to take home an easy win. So it's cool.
It's not like you're coming into Philadelphia and you're just like it's not like Arizona or something like that, right? Where you're expected to just come and get 2 points and leave and continue your road trip, unless you're the Leafs. But like the Fly, I don't know. It looks like they're playing with like a purpose again, and it like. A guy like Torts, like Philly loves a guy like Torts, right? So like things are slowly. I don't think Torts is going to bring them back to the promised land. I think he's just kind of a stopgap guy where he's going to get the franchise kind of back on the rails, and hopefully getting some of the guys playing with some purpose again. But also they got to make some better on ice decisions too, like with the contracts and stuff. Like JVR's an anchor. I think
his contract's almost done though.
Yeah, but like it handicapped them up until this point. And then who's the other guy they have?
That Ristolainen contract.
Ristolainen, like what are you doing?
Well, they just signed that though.
That's what I mean. Like what are you doing? You're completely handicapping your team. They got to, I don't know, maybe new GM. But on the ice,
a new analytics department is more like it. How do you run the numbers and then decide to sign Risto for that long and for that much?
Maybe Chuck Fletcher's just like, nah, I'm doing this. Fuck you guys,
It's true. It may be, and we've heard enough of behind the scenes in hockey that's literally how it goes.
Look what he did in Minnesota. Like the guy has a track record of being bad. So.
Was he the one that signed Parise and Suter in Minnesota?
I think so. Yeah.
Those were like. Anchors, and they kind of
those contracts were like 7 years too long.
Yeah, they're like 13 years or something. That's crazy.
But it's Bill Guerin's problem.
Now, it's the next guy's problem. Exactly. I'm in Philly now, but it's just nice to see them have the identity back. Because like, there's certain teams I look at where like I genuinely don't care. Like a team like Arizona, I'm like I don't care if they're good or bad, right? But when I see the Flyers and they're in Dallas, or whatever.
Oh my god.
Like You hate Dallas, eh? But
Dude, they're so boring. Anyway, continue.
But there's certain teams like I look at like when the Rangers were bad and I see like the fans are apathetic. I'm like, that sucks. I'd rather it be like, bumping, right? And I'd rather like Philly be bumping and the fans like juiced about their team, and I'd rather them be competitive. Like it's more fun that way, right? So it's like last year, like it's fun to as a Leafs fan to see Montreal at the bottom, but it's like when the fans are into it and the teams are good, it's more fun that way. So it's a good step for Philadelphia.
Yeah, and
I love the Bell Center when every clean hit gets a boo from the crowd for. But anyways, continue.
and like just to put a bow on that conversation, I just think it's always more fun when like last year when the Flyers were bad, I felt bad for saying they were bad because it's just it's like the fans know they're bad, everyone knows they're bad. There's no way of them not being bad, and it's just like whatever. But like when even when a team is bad but they're like competing, it's fun banter like on social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's cool, and like if you're not like if you actually can like take a little bit of like being made fun of every now and then. Not everyone can, but it's a little bit more fun that way. And also with the Flyers, just a couple on ice things that happened. Sean Couturier got a setback. I think it was announced today. He's still working towards coming back, but that still looks pretty bleak. And like you're talking about the contracts, they should. Like the Ryan Ellis is a very, very good player. But they knew what they were trading for when they got him. And now it looks like he's probably not going to play again, which is sad because Ryan Ellis is a very good player. But yeah, Flyers are cool. I'm also happy when more teams are good. It's better for the league, and like not good in terms of like on the ice, but good in like your fans can appreciate how they're playing.
Just competitive, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Montreal right now, their expectations are low, but the fans are into it because there's hope, right?
Exactly.
And that makes it fun. So exactly.
100%. So last team wanted to cover just because we always got to do it. The Toronto Maple Leafs. They just lost to the Vegas Golden Knights. One of the worst games I've ever stayed up to watch. I can't believe
dude. That I swear to God, in my lifetime, that was the worst 10 o'clock game of all time. In my lifetime. There's no way.
They've had some bad ones. They've had ones where they get like blown out, but like this one was just like a terrible. Like we only lost 3-1. That game could have been 7-0. I would have been like,
it was just so boring.
And then tonight, they're rolling into
San Jose.
10:30 p.m. start time. Eric Chalgren's getting the nod in next. Biggest storyline with the Leafs right now is they just don't seem like they're gelling together as a squad. It seems like every line is so individual in the way like they're playing. Matthews, Marner, and Bunting are all not looking like Matthews. I think personally has looked very good. He's just not bearing his chances. Bunting has had he still has 5 points in 7 games, I think, but I think on ice it hasn't looked the greatest. They're putting Kerfoot on the first line tonight. I think they're running Kerfoot, Matthews, and Marner. And the third line is like Malgin, Yarncroke, Bunting, which I think is going to be interesting to watch personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I'm not too concerned. I don't think the sky is falling yet, as they say in Leafland. But last year we started out very slow. Last year Matthews was injured, didn't score a goal basically all of October. If Matthews starts scoring goals, that guy's like a half a goal per game player, basically. So that's a lot of goals that we're not getting yet. And he's shooting 3% on the season, probably lower now since last game. So, and that guy's like a career 17-18% shooter. So I don't think there's big problems just yet.
He had like 3 goals going into November last year, and he still scored 60. So
exactly,
we're good in that regard.
Exactly. Like maybe he doesn't get to 60 again, but like that guy's.
But that's a crazy milestone.
That guy's 50 in his sleep, right? So it's like whatever at this point. And then also Ilya Samsonov, dude, that guy has been a revelation, which is awesome. I hope Dubas doesn't have to trade Matt Murray in a draft pick again to get rid of him, which will be quite nice. But Samsonov is an RFA at the end of the year, so you win some and you lose some. Darius, thoughts on the Maple Leafs
as a whole?
No, like the main storylines. I think the lines. I think is a good
so like I think Matthews is playing well. He's not scoring, but like it's gonna come. We know it's gonna come. Like you said, the shooting percentage is way too low. Like he's gonna score. Like don't worry about that. He's playing well. I'd be more concerned if he was playing hurt or like not well. I see some concerning trends with Mitch Marner that I've seen for a few years, and it's like he can't get going, and when it's like crunch time, I don't see, like, when can you remember Mitch Marner coming in the clutch for this team? Like, when they need a big goal or a big play or something, like, he'll do it. Like,
I can remember a couple times. But
well,
continue.
okay. But anyway.
Not for the Leafs, though.
Not with the Leafs, yeah. Maybe the London Knights.
Y'all are crazy. You
Yeah.
guys are crazy.
But, no, maybe that's just me. I don't know. But anyway, I think Nylander looks great. That line looks great. Second line, don't touch it.
Tavares, Nylander, Robertson should be the second line the whole season.
Like Robertson looks amazing. Should never touch the Marlies again. He only went down for cap reasons anyway. He's ready. He looks great. Nylander looks like he's ready to go this year. Tavares looks faster.
Nylander could hit like 90 points this year, I feel like.
Yeah, he's scoring. I think he could get he's going to get over 35 goals, I think.
Maybe,
he's on pace. He's doing a lot better to start than last year, and he just looks better. Like, eye test, I guess, but he just looks better.
And also, he was I know it's the preseason, but he was like the best preseason player I saw. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like, he looked the most ready. I get that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so far he has what, 4 goals, 5 goals? So
something like that. He's going crazy.
He's going. So Robertson too looks great. Third line has no purpose. I think
bottom 6, not to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
I just feel like number 1, it's a lot of new guys in the bottom 6. Aston Reese, Yarncroc, and Avi Kubel, none of them were on the team last year. You also have Morgan, who might get into some games, who also was on the team last year. So they're still looking for someone there. In addition to this, guys like Engvall haven't looked good. So that's another thing. It's just it's a lot of stuff that needs maybe some more time, I think, with
some oil.
There's so much new players. So there's so much stuff that a lot of Leaf fans are concerned about that I'm like, whatever. You know, it is what it is.
There's certain things that if they continue, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just about to ask, the bottom 6. I was just about to ask you guys your thoughts from Saturday night against the Jets, because there was that Marner hit, and there's no spark to sort of clean hit, not a clean hit, call it what you want, but I just felt like there's no spark to protect him. Like, can I just get your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but then a guy like Robertson gets smoked, by the way, and confetti gloves from Riley.
That game was just bad.
Yeah,
it was not just on the ice, but just officiating wise.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. But that's another thing with this team. That's another thing with this team. They'll get up to play Winnipeg because there's something there, from last year and even in the bubble, right? Or the COVID year, whatever. But they got it. Why don't they play mad all the time? Why don't you play like you want to win all the time? Why are you playing like it's a scrimmage? You know, this team plays like it's a scrimmage a lot of the time. That's how I feel.
The only time the Leafs play good is when there's a good storyline going into the game that kind of favors them. Going into Arizona, that's a scheduled loss for the Leafs. You know they're gonna lose. Going in, but against Montreal, there's a storyline there. There always is. Tampa Bay, Boston. I feel like the Leafs get psyched up for a Tampa Bay or a Boston game because it's these are the guys. I don't even think they get psyched up for Florida games.
But then you're leaving points. Other teams don't think like that, man. Other teams go in there and they kill the other team. They smell the blood, right? And they pick up those points. You're leaving points on the table, and if you don't have that killer instinct, when you get to the playoffs, you have problems. And I know they were 1 goal away last year. You lost, and you were up. You had multiple times to win the series, and you didn't. That's a problem. So
for sure.
And that's not just a last year thing too.
That's all the time.
That's the scary part. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's been so many opportunities where they could just bury another team. And they don't do it.
When Tavares scored that goal in Game 6 to put them up, should have been the end of the series right there. I cannot believe that there was another game and a half basically with the overtime.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I want to relate to is in basketball sometimes when a team is up by 4 or 5 points and then they shoot a 3 and it goes in and it's okay, that's a dagger 3 no matter what time the game is that's that quiet crowd stops the other team. It's just it's one of those. And the Leafs have never been that team where it's just okay, they're up 2-1 with 10 minutes to go. They're never gonna get that third goal. You know, they're always gonna the other team's gonna score. You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like that. I don't know what you can do. I think this is more of a conversation down the road. It's 6 games into the season. This is your average regular season early reaction. But one thing I do want to talk about at least before we move on to a former Leaf that we all want to talk about, the Jake Muzzin thing. He just got put on LTIR, It's a neck injury, and like I don't know, man. I don't think personally, I don't think that guy should probably play again. I don't know about you
No,
guys.
he's had the same injury. This is his third time with the same injury, and it's not. I don't know why they're saying neck. It's like a head thing, like head neck.
Was the bubble injury against Columbus? Was that the first or second time?
I think it was the first time. Then
that was the first. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then he had it the next year. I think.
He's had a lot. He's had a few head injuries, groin injuries. He has like a chronic back injury, like all the time.
Which, like, dude, if your back's hurt, it's not like a wrist thing. If your back's hurt, like you're hurt, like you're done. So
when he plays, I'm just like, they gotta stop, right? they gotta stop.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
He looks significant. Like this year, he looks significantly worse than even last year. Like, there's something.
What happened
there.
to Justin Hall? That's my question.
That too, dude.
Is he broken?
He looked like the best defenseman ever for 3 games against Edmonton in 2021. Like you couldn't
he had Connors in his back pocket. Like, I can admit that.
Like legitimately.
No, he did. Like he looked, and that whole year actually, I was like, holy shit, they found like their right shot defenseman. Like this is sick. He came from the Marlies, right? And then like last year, you're kind of like, oh boy. And then this year, like he looks lost. Like what's going on? But
a lot of that team looks lost on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, Riley always looks lost defensively. That guy's never known where he is.
Brody helps a lot, and I think Liljegren actually will add a lot. I really like Liljegren when he gets into the lineup. But yeah, I'd like to go back. Sorry to the first thing. Muzzin, there's life beyond hockey. Muzzin should retire.
Yeah. Next up, Phil Kessel. We touched on it last week. But he finally broke he's the leading Ironman game streak holder.
Mm-hmm.
He's also scored his 400th goal. So I think we did a segment on Kessel last week. We don't really need to like spend too much time on him, but like, you know, just congratulations to Phil. Good for him. It's not every day you see a guy that is built like Phil playing that much, being that good at any sport. So good for him.
I think like him playing in the West the last little while, you kind of like forget about him. He's one of those guys like you kind of forget about.
Not just the West.
I guess.
The Wild West.
Yeah, the Wild West. But through all this media coverage the last few days, like with him with the streak and scoring the 400th goal, it just reminded me like how much I actually love Kessel. Like he's so funny. like he's one of like those players you just love to love, right? Like, and like when he was in Toronto, like I loved him, and then they traded him away, and I was like, well, that sucks because he's a good player.
Should they trade him?
Yeah, should they trade him? He's just funny, and all the stories coming out, like he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, have you heard the story about him and Carlisle and the weigh-in? Like when he was with the Leafs, they were doing like physicals, and he was just like in the corner, like drinking Coke.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't care, and then they like crushed everyone in the leg press.
No, it's a different one. So there's that one too. But then they were doing like weight, and one of the trainers came over and was like, "Okay, Phil, you got to come, weigh in." And he was like, "If Randy wants me to weigh in, tell that fat F to come over here and weigh me myself, himself." And I'm like, this guy's a legend. And then there's also times. Sorry, it's just coming to mind. But there's times like in practice when he was with the Leafs where they were doing like drills, and he's like, "I don't want to do that one," and he just wouldn't.
Like that whole HBO Winter Classic series, like that was a gold mine for Phil.
Good one, Randy. Yeah,
good one, Randy. Good one.
So good.
Yeah. So congrats to Phil. We talked about him.
Congrats, Phil.
So,
Phil the thrill, baby.
Congratulations, Phil Kessel. I think I want to save our NHL 23 talk to next week just because we're running a little bit long. But
we got places to be.
The Arizona Coyotes dressing room. Not too much to say about that. It's not very good, and it's a bad look for the league. I can't believe this is actually happening in a professional, highest level of hockey league. I say that every time I see it. But Matt, what do you think of the Coyotes facilities?
Just move them to Quebec City. I've seen enough.
Or Houston. You know what I mean?
Or move them to Houston.
Like, why not Quebec? They've been waiting. They got the arena. It's done. It's in operation. There's a team that plays there.
Just have the different rooms, separated by like a thin curtain. Like that's so bush league. I've seen community rinks with better like
You're
better
changing
setups.
You're changing at the blue line on the community rink. Like, that's a rink that they just took out. Like, the ice is not there, and you're changing on the concrete. What's going on here? What lengths do you got to go at this point? Like, the Coyotes, how many years the NHL owned them at one point, to this point where they're playing in this situation. Like, what lengths do you have to go to keep them in the league? Like, if it's clearly not working, something is wrong.
It just makes the league look poor. Like, the only thing I can remember is when the Chargers had that, like, small stadium, but even then that looked mildly more professional than what Arizona was going through. It's so stupid. Like, cool, it's on a college campus. The college kids that are gonna spend that money to go to a game. Not a whole lot, but it's so bush league. It makes the NHL look awful. I've seen junior C rinks that look more better.
Way better. Junior B rinks.
Much better.
Yeah, dude. Like, are the college kids gonna I've been in college. I couldn't afford a ticket to the Leafs.
I'm currently in university and I can't afford it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they're the same prices as I've seen online, like $300 or something, like, who from the college is gonna watch that? They gotta eat, man. Like, I don't know. If you do like if you do like Friday nights where like the kids get in, like the if you go to the school, you get in for like 75% off or some shit. Sure.
They're not gonna do that shit.
No one would it.
That's what I'm saying.
They're gonna cough up every buck that they can.
Yep. With that though, we'll get into our wrap. As I said, NHL 23 conversation. We'll focus the bulk of it, but I'm on a tight schedule because I have to go somewhere after this. So Darius already did it because he's a very nice person. Follow us on all the socials. But the quick hits here. We don't need to get into it too much. Matt, who's your favorite goalie growing up?
Hasek. Upset. He played the running gun goalie style. Like, seeing him dominate like his entire career is just phenomenal. Like, and that's the style that every kid pretty much growing up emulated. Like, in floor hockey, you're all over the place, covering the puck with your blocker, throwing your glove in the air. He's such a good goalie. He's my favorite.
That's true.
It was crazy. There's like no technique there. It was just like sprawl, but he would somehow like stop.
Chaos was his technique.
Yeah, literally. I would say like probably Cujo. I just thought his mask was cool. And I was like, oh yeah, he's also like chaotic and like this is fun. So thought it was cool. Honorable mention, James Reimer. Really good goalie and doesn't get enough praise.
Good picks. Mine is gonna be Martin Brodeur. Just because when I was growing up, people were just, I don't know why, when I was in like grade school, Martin Brodeur was near the end of his career. But like, I don't know, even when I was growing up, he wasn't always the best, but I always found it so funny that he scored a goal as a goalie. So like, I kind of was like, oh, that's pretty sick. So I just kind of rolled with that for a while. And then a lot of my friends also just really liked Brodeur for some reason. And it was always interesting that he was one of the last, like, I guess, stand-up goalies in the league. So I always thought that was cool as well. So yeah, mostly Brodeur because I was a kid. And as a kid, you don't think goalies score goals at all, and they still don't. And Brodeur did that. And in May 6th, I played a lot of goalie, and I was pretty good. And Martin Brodeur was good at goalie. So, basically the same thing.
It's a parallel, yeah.
I remember watching that video for the first time, and I was like, I didn't know you could do that. Like,
exactly.
Score? And then I found another video where he scored another one in the playoffs. I was like, he did this twice? Like, how?
Guy was cracked.
Yeah, I was like, I can't even shoot that hard, like, regularly without the goalie equipment. Like,
with that aim, too, he was crazy. But with that being said, we're going to wrap the episode here. Try to keep it short. Our goal is to keep them shorter because not too much happens week to week during the season. So, of course, if more topics are, the longer our episodes will be. But with that being said, shout out Matt. He purchased the premium Zoom account that we use to record these. Shout out Darius for being our producer, editing all the cool media stuff you see. That's the guy right there. And follow the homies on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. We get we get some decent interaction there. And subscribe on YouTube. Rate us 5 stars. I gotta do all this stuff. I know it's cliche and corny, but you know how it goes. And shout out to me because I upload the TikToks every now and then. So with that being said, have a good day or night whenever listening to this. And if you're driving while listening to this, drive safe, everyone. Take it easy.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Gritcast. For more content, visit our YouTube channel. And check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.